and thrifty. Here to our left is Bank of America Tower. And here is a picture of the buildings on the site to our left that I took before it got torn down. I don't miss it, and neither do you, because it was ugly. I cannot stand it. It was designed by Graham Anderson, Probst and White, same from the merchandise mark, Wrigley Building, and the building to our left coming up 25 years earlier. To be clear, Washington, and into this Art Deco Canyon, again to our left coming up, the Civic Opera Building by Graham Anderson, Probst and White. Limestone cladding, streamlined verticality, and setbacks the building rises. You'll notice it kind of reminds me of a giant chair or a throne. Seat portion of the theater and stage. The wings of the building are your armrests, and the tower your backrest. Should not misspell building, that's Latin. Chiseled here in my lifetime. Blank wall to our left bit more than 20 years ago. Some minor consideration about perhaps showing movies on the wall, watching a plaza from across the way. Nothing materialized. When built, we used river water to raise and lower the stage inside. Gonna have some carvings here and more carvings above of comedy and tragedy. What's tragic, this $20 million building opened up November 4th, 1929. Few days of the stock market crash, even the Great Depression, Civic Opera bankrupt soon thereafter. Now home to the Lyric Opera, they're very successful. Back to our right. So around here, you can see below the next set of buildings, not to the basement, to the train tracks. All the buildings to our right along the river are built atop air rights, and that means the developers bought the air above the train tracks from the railroad companies to build and develop buildings above that space. Very common in big cities. Huge project right now being built in Manhattan called Hudson Yards, all on air rights. We're gonna have Gateway Centers 1 and 2, 65, 67, Black Box Modern, Skidmore, Owens and Merrill. Background to our right, green glass, black cladding, slope roof, modern, 83, Skidmore. And taller stone clad building to our right is postmodern, 92, Skidmore. So all four buildings by the same firm, 65 to 92. In evolution of architecture by one firm over 30 years. But again, the tracks below lead to and from Union Station, a short classically inspired building about a quarter block to our right, next gap, 19. I know that most of you all aren't from Chicago, but some of you all, especially adults of a certain age, have seen some of these buildings on TV, but you may not realize it. If any of you all have ever seen The Untouchables, 1987, Sean Connery, Kevin Costner, there's a scene at the end of the baby stroller going down the stair steps in a shootout that was filmed in the Great Hall of Union Station. Very nice space. If you have time, check it out and or watch the movie because it's good. Adams Street, aka Route 66. At one time, a beautiful grand concourse of the train station stood directly here to our right. The name of modernization was foolishly torn down back in 1969 and replaced with a mediocre Gateway Center 3, 1972 Skidmore. Short three-story building to our right now houses the Health Club and Corner Bakery. Initially, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and back then, pre-computer, at an exchange, had a big old trading floor. Those big trading floors that it's not like a lot of interior support columns that would get in the way. Instead of using interior supports, the X is on the outside to the majority of the supporting. X bracing at the John Hancock Center on North Michigan Avenue. John Hancock is vertical, this building's horizontal. Now we'll discuss the building to our left coming up, small red dot. On the return from a pretty good view from this angle, as you clear Jackson to our right, the fourth and final of the Gateway buildings from 1983 by Jim DeStefano, who at that time worked for Skidmore. Again, pretty good example of architectural contextualism. The building fits into the site and surrounding. A graceful curve in the facade, a slight bend of the river in front of us. Green glass of the building, green water of the river. This building just kind of popped up like a week and a half ago, and I like it. I have no idea who did it. So I know at least a third of you all at one point, past like 17, 18 years, have possibly seen The Dark Knight, the Batman movie made in Chicago. Opening scene, Joker and his gang, they're gonna rob Gotham Bank. They bust out a window in the office building to our right. Use a zip line to go to the rooftop of Gotham Bank where they bust into the school bus. That's next, but in reality, the former main post office for the city of Chicago, built in phases and finally completed back in 1932. Art Deco, Graham Anderson, Probst and White, the world's busiest and biggest post office. Chicago is the biggest, the mail order and catalog capital of the world. This is like Sears, Marshall Field, Montgomery Ward. It's on roughly 2.7 million square feet of space, about 62 acres under one roof, the perfect spot on top of train tracks. Building itself decommissioned back in '96. It's been empty for more than 2 decades. It was purchased back in 2016, underwent a roughly $800 million rehab, and last I have read, about 90% leased up is now office space. Buildings are now LEED certified, green technology. And we'll pick up in one moment. Right now, though, cars. Usually, see how loud it is, but it's not. To our right, the newer main post office from 1996, not worth your nor my time, so don't worry about it. As we clear Harrison, to our left coming up on this vacant and broke down land, place it used to be to 1971 on railroad land with a very nice train station to our left on the corner, Grand Central Station, 1890 to 1971. About 14 years ago, 2 different developers did team up and bought most of the land to our left, the bridge above us, the one in front of us, like 14 acres along the 80 city. 10 years ago, they submitted a master plan to the city for the redevelopment of that land. All these acres are now built roughly 3,600 residential units. The project initially was called Riverline by Perkins and Will. So far, 2 buildings have been finished. To our left, coming up, the Cooper in its rental. In front to our left, the Reed, 41 floors, half condo, half rental, half time while you're here. Visit the space to our left, very pretty, peaceful, and passive. And the stones to our left coming up are reclaimed foundation stones from the train station dug up from that site and reused for the Riverwalk. And I realize I'm not that big of a fan of the Reed architecture because of the parking base. Now, initial plans are 2-story duplexes, like you see that to our left in the background of the Cooper. This will be 4 floors of parking on green space. Not a fan of that. The lobby is nice though. Underground parking next to water is very, very, very expensive, but can be done. To 1972, a bridge did span the river. This location at Polk Street, still see the apartments on the side. And you're to our left gonna have River City. And maybe mind y'all of a complex we saw like 10 minutes ago, Marina City. If it does, it should. Designed by the same architect, Bertrand Goldberg. The building to our left is 20 years later, 1986. Once again, a small marina at the base for boaters on a dock in that space. They can leave their boats in the water year round. When it gets very, very cold out, they turn on bubblers in that marina so the water is moving and agitated so it does not freeze up. It was built as rental, converted to condominiums 7 years ago. Everyone got bought out for $90.5 million. It's now once again rental. As you put this substation, about 3 blocks to our right, you can see a red white transmission tower. That's just a part of the Chicago fire academy, but I use it as our landmark. It's very, very semi-industrial to our right. So, ever have time while you're here, still visit the area anyway. It's an awesome old school Chicago deli on Jefferson called Manny's. And really thick corned beef sandwiches, great potato pancakes, and good beef stew. They're about from like 1942. Eventually, will be a high rise from the parking lot here to our left. And in front to our left, the crane, the building a roughly 21-story tall building here to our left, designed by Gensler. Should be done sometime next year. Gonna have about 380 apartments. Stay tuned. And in front to our right, the smokestacks, old Union Station power plant, 1931. Initially coal-powered. Many years natural gas. Decommissioned 2011. 8-9 years ago, placed for the endangered buildings list. A big fear that it could be torn down. I hope that it's not. It's really cool. takes a lot of work and simply can turn it into. But if you can do it in Savannah, Georgia, you can do it in 2 time money and vision. So if we keep going in this direction for a while longer, just a while longer, 10 days or 2 weeks, promise I couldn't talk that long, eventually get down to the Gulf. I will tell you how, because people do it all the time. So one of the reasons why Chicago is here today. Location, 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 and accessibility. Out of Lake Michigan, down the main branch of the Chicago River, and the south branch where we are right now, and 4 miles further down, the river flows to the Chicago Sanitary and Ship Canal that was dug 1892 to 1900. That flows to the Des Plaines River, it flows to the Illinois River, which flows to the Mississippi River, and down to the Gulf we go. Pre-sanitary and ship with the IM, Illinois and Michigan Canal, that was dug 1836 to 48, so there were any canals at all. And if Americans would look up on this land, the portage, pick up, carry, drag their canoes about 5 miles over some muddy, mucky land called Mud Lake. The first Europeans, Joliet and Marquette, into the area, 1673. So again, all the vacant land to our left until the 1970s was all railroad land. You're talking roughly 62 acres, the same as the post office is inside. Back in 2019, a major planned development site here to our left. On this land, we're now build roughly 13 million square feet of buildable space, up to 10,000 residential units, and buildings rising up to 950. That's too short, and we shall see. So last year's announcement of the Chicago fire, our soccer team wants to build a brand new stadium. And land to our left, we see the crane. It's going to have a capacity of roughly 22,000. It's going to cost in excess of like $750 million. Finance for the owner, as of right now, no the money of the infrastructure. They want to be done by 2028 to become McDonald's Park. All that I have, stay tuned. About 3 months ago, it was announced incoming chairman and partial owner of the Chicago White Sox want to buy the rail yard to our right Amtrak. 47 acres, make for a brand new stadium. I don't know yet, it's very early. We'll see. Again, stay tuned. Then I'm rendering to our left, the soccer stadium. And then going vertical. The river ties into our left, where the site's history. And around here, you see how very straight this part of the south branch is. This is not a natural straightness. The river in this area initially did arc and curved through the lands here to our left, came out just beyond the railroad bridge. That arc and curve in the river at that time was deemed hazardous for navigation. As part of the Burnham's 1909 plan of Chicago, that covered the straightening of the river in this location. From Polk Street, 4 blocks behind us, to 16th Street, 2 blocks in front of us. 1928 to 30, that's what they did. They took a brand new river channel and filled in the old one. About a half mile to our southeast with the black box on top was the Hilliard Homes Escape Archer, 1961 to 63, also by Bertrand and Goldberg. 2 train bridges right here in front. The one is more vertical, is not used anymore, from 1930. On the angle, 1919, still used. Beyond this, Chinatown and Pingtown Park. Last year, they were replacing the railroad ties on the 1919 bridge. You're going to smell the oil and crystals. You could get closer to it. And the small dip of the land to our left of that small red footbridge, that's where the river came out of the curve, pre-1928 straightening. So to our left, coming up, Pingtown Park and Chinatown. I'm going to put down the mic for a few moments, kind of walk around. If you have questions, flag me down. We'll do my very, very best to answer. Don't forget to find the bar downstairs. One of the for us. Get some more money. Have a drink. We're going to the city and tour. And again, we're Chicago. Back on mic in a few minutes. Have a question? Let me know.